Sorry for the delay, folks, on this next episode of Kaijucopia. All three of you that are tuning in each and every video, I appreciate you. However, it's been a long time since our last video, and we are going to be exploring the Godzilla movie franchise. Whew, forgive me, it's been a long day at work. Anyway, moving on. Kaijucopia is a bit of an experiment of mine, in which it all started with celebrating the imminent release of Magic the Gathering's latest set, Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths, which has specialty box toppers and collector's boosters, exclusive cards that are alternate artwork that it can feature Godzilla monsters. So, with that in mind, I was inspired to go back in time, all the way down to the 50s, in order to rewatch, and sometimes watching for the first time, Godzilla movies from the very first incarnation all the way up to modern day. It's been slow going, folks, mostly because I am unreliable. However, we are up to movie number 5 with this installment, which was the Rocky 2 of the franchise, essentially, where we have Rocky and Apollo, aka Godzilla and Ghidorah, going head-to-head once again, except in this version of Rocky, Mickey is actually a pterodactyl that bursts forth from a volcano, and it says, "Get him, you bum!" Man, thinking about that, I'd pay good money to see Rodan screaming as Mickey in a Godzilla film. Toho, you know what to do. Regardless, just as I'm being a little bit silly, this marked the first actual movie where you could argue that they, in a modern term, jumped the shark with Godzilla movies. Because the first couple of films, you have to understand, if you've been watching these videos or you're familiar with the plot yourselves, then the first couple of films in the Godzilla franchise feature the origins of radioactive dinosaur age monsters essentially rising back from the oceans and essentially taking back what's theirs by smashing civilization, particularly Japanese civilization, to smithereens. Constantly. All the time. It's kind of a problem. But either way, these things were at least attempted to be explained through natural phenomena, or some sort of fantasticalness involved with radioactivity, the kind of science fiction that you could believe in the 50s and 60s. And some would argue, even today, after all, the water's making the frickin' frogs gay. I don't know if you've heard, but it's a real problem. But anyway, this movie, enough pontificating and beating around the bush. I'm not using pontificating correctly, am I? I'm in trouble. This video is going to get me in trouble. Because we went to outer space. We also watched Godzilla vs. Ghidorah. The invasion of the Astro Monster. Okay? Godzilla and Rodan are summoned from the ocean by aliens from Planet X and borrowed in order to go fight Ghidorah on their planet, which is more classified as a moon because it's next to Jupiter, and everything around Jupiter would have been a moon, especially with the Planet X being as small as it was. But either way, they're a planet. They can be sensitive about these kind of things. And Ghidorah is wrecking their shit. And so, it's up to Godzilla and Rodan to fight them, and fight them they do. And even though it took the combined might of Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra in their first confrontation, in this one, it only took Godzilla and Rodan to beat, I was going to say to beat Ghidorah off. And I was going to get myself in trouble. You know what? I knew it. I knew it was going to happen, folks. Whew. Anyway. So, Godzilla flies off into the sunset. Moon set. Planet set? Planet side. And it all ends up being that the denizens of Planet X and the Controller were there to capture Godzilla and Rodan. They actually controlled Ghidorah themselves through electromagnetic waves. The 5G, if you will, of kaiju movies back in the 60s. They were massively ahead of their time. The government's been working on 5G for longer than your parents were born. So, you know what? Resistance is futile. And so they take control of Godzilla and Rodan in the same ways as they take control of Ghidorah, and they go to invade Earth and declare them all of their slaves, which quickly devolves into destroying all the humans on the planet in a genocide, which really ruins the purpose of trying to make them your slaves to start with if you're just going to kill them all off right off the bat. I mean, at least be like Stalin, or like, induce some like socialism into their country, and have all the resources drained and before you kill off all the farmers. Like, that'd be a sensible thing. Then again, these guys are, they have little man syndrome. They come from a moon that they like to call a planet next to Jupiter, so, But anyway, this movie focused largely on the adventures of a couple of astronauts and some intrepid reporters, because, of course, Toho loves their intrepid reporters. And, the astronauts, funny enough, a little note on this movie that I enjoyed was the fact that they had, this is the first time, this is apparently the first film in the Godzilla franchise in which they actively worked with an American studio, which might surprise you if you consider Godzilla vs. King Kong being a thing, but this was an actual collaboration with an American studio at the time, which led to us having a American co-star in this movie, in which him and his Japanese astronaut partner would talk to each other, and this man would largely be talking to everyone of Japanese origin in complete English, no subtitles needed, no, nothing, irregular mouth movements. He's the only guy that's speaking on the dub, on beat with everybody else, and everyone else is talking back to him just in regular Japanese, as if he's like some sort of a ghost that's not really there. He's like their imaginary American friend, that if they had an American friend that's saving from Godzilla, this is the guy that they would want talking to them. But either way, they were resumed speaking in purely Japanese to this man. And he ended up being a pretty big deal, he got a cloned girlfriend. He didn't know she was cloned at the time, but okay, there's like 56 of them. Like, every female on the Planet X looks like his girlfriend, which just means that he is really into Planet X women. And I don't know if that joke is racist. You know what? We're treading a thin line here, folks. It's very dangerous. But either way, this movie was very centric on the humans coming up with a way in order to finagle some technology together, interrupt the 5G, and blast it with analog in order to send us back to the radio age, in order to stop the mind control of Godzilla and Rodan. And they had, a rather decent, human drama plot surrounding everything, and them trying to figure out what's going on and doing their general human thing of saving the day if Godzilla-sized monsters weren't there to regularly do that for them. So that was pretty nifty. I was not distracted at all from the more focus on trying to get the humans to solve their own problem with the kaiju. And then, of course, once they break the mind control of Godzilla and Rodan, go back to Ghidorah, who's flopping around on the ground, all just as confused as the rest of them. Ghidorah's like, oh man, that was really bad, guys. We were all just totally under the control of the aliens, and none of us knew what we were doing the whole time. So I really shouldn't have even invaded Earth in the first movie, right, guys? We could be friends now, right? And Godzilla and Rodan are like, how many times we gotta teach you this lesson, old man? And they beat the tar out of Ghidorah and then send him packing once again. So it's probably no wonder he probably comes back again and again throughout this franchise and just really hates Godzilla. Because the one time they could have tried to be friends, Godzilla was like, nope, this is my planet, bitch. And Rodan is like, yeah, me too. You get him, Rocky. We need this dub. We need Rocky too. Mickey and Rocky, Godzilla and Rodan. And Mothra can be Talia Shire. Adrian, we need to do this. Somebody needs to get on this with me. And, we have to dub over Godzilla and Rodan's voices. There's everybody with Rocky. Everyone with Rocky. I mean, fuck. And Gearus can be Paulie, because, Paulie's always drunk and needing help. And he means well. He does his best, but he's really just a giant fuck-up. Which we'll probably come to understand with future movies to come. Speaking of silliness, we're going to go to a whole nother level, folks. Because in the next movie, it's going to be Godzilla versus a giant lobster. And I wish I was kidding you. But this gravy train is only going to get weirder And until next time, stay just Quintastic.